After the wedding, the restaurant owner called me. I saw something on the security footage. You need to come here immediately. God forbid your husband finds out. Hurry, time is running out. Hi, my dears. Write in the comments where you're listening from. We wish you an enjoyable listen. I woke up with a smile on my lips and immediately reached for my husband. The first morning of a married woman. It sounds so ceremonial, so meaningful. Beside me, Alex was softly snoring. My husband. With his arm stretched out over my pillow, I looked at his face so calm and sleepy and thought that there was no one happier than me in the world right now. Bright October sunlight was shining through the window. The apartment was filled with a pleasant creative mess from yesterday's preparations. My wedding dress was hanging on a chair, and on the nightstand stood 2 glasses we'd drunk champagne from late last night when we got home. My apartment. Now ours. Our little nest, as Alex liked to call it. I threw off the blanket and walked barefoot to the kitchen, feeling like the heroine of a romantic movie. I turned on the kettle and took a cake out of the fridge. Leftovers from the wedding, which we'd brought home with us. I wanted to surprise my husband. Breakfast in bed. I imagined him waking up to the smell of fresh coffee, smiling at me. The phone rang, sharply cutting through the morning silence. I flinched. An unknown number. Who could it be at 10 in the morning? Maybe one of the guests forgot something. Hello? Good morning. The voice was female, anxious. This is Rebecca, the owner of the Cafe Cozy Corner. We hosted your wedding yesterday. I froze with the mug in my hand. For some reason, my heart immediately started beating faster. Yes, hello. Did something happen? Everything is paid for. We settled the bill last night. No, that's not it, she spoke quickly, nervously. This morning I was reviewing the security camera recordings from last night. We always do that after events, you understand, for safety. And there's something there. You need to come and see it urgently. Alone. And it's very important that your husband doesn't find out. I felt a chill run down my spine. I sat down on a stool because my legs suddenly felt weak. What do you mean? What could be there? I can't say over the phone. There was a note of pity, sympathy in her voice. Believe me, if it were something minor, I wouldn't be calling you. Especially on a day like this. But what I saw. You need to see it yourself. Please come as soon as you can. I'll be waiting until noon. After that, I have to leave to visit my daughter. There isn't much time. I looked at the clock. 10:07. Okay. I'll be there in an hour. Maybe a little more. Hurry. And don't tell anyone. Especially your husband, she said the last words more quietly, almost in a whisper. The line went dead. I sat in the kitchen, staring at my phone, feeling my happiness slowly leak out of me like air from a punctured balloon. What could she have seen? Maybe some of the guests got into a fight. Or someone stole something? Broke something expensive, and now they want us to pay for it. Or, no, nonsense. What else could it be? But why did she say my husband shouldn't know? Why like that? Who was that? Came a sleepy voice from the bedroom. I flinched. Alex was standing in the doorway, tousled, wearing only his underwear, rubbing his eyes. Handsome. Mine. My husband. Good morning. I tried to smile. Good morning, wife. He walked over, hugged me from behind, pressed his nose into my neck. Why are you so tense? Who called? The lie came on its own, easily and quickly. My friend Linda forgot her purse at the cafe yesterday. She's asking me to pick it up and bring it to her. Says there are important documents in it. Now? He yawned. Let me go. No, I pulled away from his embrace too quickly. I'll go myself. You rest. You were tired yesterday. I'll stop by the store too, pick something up for dinner. He shrugged. Whatever you want. Just don't be gone too long. Maybe we can go see my parents later today, bring them their gifts. Yeah, of course, I was already pulling on my jeans, throwing on a sweater. I'll be quick, 2 hours max. I was getting ready in a kind of fever. Bag, keys, phone. Alex watched me with surprise. Are you sure you're okay? Did something happen? Everything's great, I kissed him on the cheek. I just want to get back to you as soon as possible. Another smile. Forced, fake. And I rushed out the door before he could see my hand shaking. On the way to the cafe, I kept thinking about our wedding. Last night felt so distant, as if not one night had passed, but an entire eternity. We met 7 months ago. The most ordinary meeting, nothing romantic. I was standing in line at a clinic. I needed a certificate for work, another routine medical exam for the daycare where I worked as a preschool teacher. There were a lot of people, it was stuffy, everyone was angry and tired. He stood behind me. A tall, good-looking man, about 35. He was coughing, wincing. Did you catch a cold? I asked just out of politeness. My throat's acting up, he replied and smiled. I work construction, as a foreman. Heat one day, cold the next, drafts. This is the result. We started talking. He turned out to be simple, open, with a good sense of humor. When it was my turn, he asked for my phone number. Maybe we could grab coffee sometime. I gave him my number, even though I was usually more cautious. But there was something in his eyes. Kind, maybe? Reliable. He called the next day, then again. Invited me to cafes, to the movies, for walks. He was attentive. Remembered what I liked, which flowers I preferred, what I couldn't stand. He was never late. Walked me home. Kissed me on the cheek goodbye, didn't try to push his way into my apartment after the first date like some guys do. The perfect gentleman, every woman's dream. And me. I was 32, living alone in this 2-bedroom apartment I'd inherited from my grandmother 5 years earlier. My mom's mom. She raised me while my parents worked from morning till night. She taught me how to bake pies and knit. She passed away quietly, in her sleep, leaving me the most valuable thing she had. This tiny apartment on the 4th floor with no elevator in an old building in the center of Portland. It was my fortress. My only wealth. A preschool teacher's salary. A joke, not money barely enough for food. But the apartment was mine. No mortgage, no rent. My friends were jealous. You're so lucky, Jessica, Linda would say, my high school friend who rented a tiny place on the outskirts. Just live and enjoy. Freedom, no obligations. But in the evenings, the apartment was empty. Quiet. I'd come home from work exhausted from kids screaming and running around, sit on the couch in front of the TV, and think, is this really how my whole life is going to be? Alone, without a family, without children. My own, not someone else's? When, 3 months later, Alex proposed, I said yes without thinking for a single second. We were sitting on a park bench when he pulled out a ring box. Modest but sweet, and said, Jessica, I want to spend my whole life with you. Will you marry me? I cried with happiness. That was it. My happiness. Finally. My parents took the news cautiously. Especially my dad. It's too fast, my mom shook her head when we were sitting in their kitchen. You don't really know him, Jessica. 3 months. That's nothing. He doesn't even have his own place, my father Gregory grumbled, an old-school kind of man. Living with his parents at 35. He'll move in with you and put his feet up on the table. And you'll be taking care of him. Dad, he's saving up for an apartment. I tried to defend Alex. He's good, honest. Works a lot, gets tired. His salary just isn't enough for a mortgage on his own. Yeah, but together it will be, my father snorted. On your salary, you won't get very far. So where are you going to live? In your apartment, right? I stayed silent. Yes, we planned to live at my place. But what was wrong with that? We'd be a family. Jessica, sweetheart, my mom took my hand. We're just worried about you. You're kind, trusting. And people can be very different. What if he's... well, not who he seems? Mom, enough. I stood up from the table. I'm an adult. I decide who I marry. And I love him. They didn't argue anymore. Just sighed and exchanged looks. And me? I was in love. Or so I thought back then. Now, after just one night of marriage, I was already starting to doubt. Alex chose the cafe cozy corner. He said the food there was excellent and the prices were reasonable. Perfect for a modest wedding. I agreed. I didn't care where we celebrated, as long as he was there, as long as everything went well. We invited about 30 people. My parents, a few relatives, co-workers, Linda and her husband. On Alex's side, his parents, some distant aunts and uncles, friends from work. And Sarah. Sarah Williams. My former co-worker from the daycare. We used to be friends. Went to lunch together, shared secrets, gossiped. But about 2 years ago, she transferred to another daycare, and somehow we drifted apart. We met occasionally, texted, but it wasn't the same anymore. I invited her anyway. Out of politeness, I guess. She showed up in a tight, bright red dress, with a new boyfriend who, however, left fairly early. Sarah stayed, danced, laughed louder than anyone, and drank, it seemed, more than anyone else. I remember thinking then that it was a shame we stopped talking. She was so fun, so full of life. The evening went wonderfully. Toasts, dancing, photos. Alex was perfect, attentive, loving. He hugged me in front of everyone, kissed me, whispered in my ear, "I'm the happiest man in the world." Around 11 o'clock, he disappeared somewhere. For about 20 minutes, at least. I wanted to go look for him, but he came back before I had the chance. He said he'd been talking to the manager, sorting out some payment details. I didn't think anything of it back then. How stupid I was. How blind. Rebecca met me at the entrance of the cafe before I even had time to park. A woman in her 50s, wearing a simple sweater and jeans, with a tired face and kind but sad eyes. She had been waiting for me. "Thank you for coming so quickly," she said when I got out of the car. "Let's go inside and talk." We walked through the empty hall. The cafe wasn't open yet. They only opened for lunch. Chairs were stacked on tables, and the place smelled of cleaning solution and freshness. Yesterday it had been so loud, so joyful. We went up to the second floor, to a small office. A desk, a chair, a computer, and several monitors on the wall showing security camera feeds. "Please, have a seat." Rebecca pulled out a chair for me and sat down across from me. "Would you like some water? Tea?" "No, thank you. Just tell me what you saw." She let out a heavy sigh and rubbed her face with her hands. "It's very unpleasant for me to interfere in someone else's life, believe me. I have a daughter your age. She lives in another city, got married last year. And I would want, if something like this happened to her, God forbid, of course that someone would warn her. That's why I called you." My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. "Show me." She turned the monitor toward me and pressed a few keys. A black and white image appeared on the screen. A hallway near the kitchen. I recognized the place. There was a door to the storage room where food supplies and cleaning equipment were kept. "This is footage from last night," Rebecca said quietly. 11:08. A man in a dark suit entered the frame. The walk was familiar, the silhouette familiar. Alex. My husband. Yesterday's groom. He looked around quickly, nervously, and stopped by the storage room door. A few seconds later, a woman appeared in the frame, tall, in a tight bright red dress, with dark hair loose over her shoulders. Sarah. They exchanged a glance. Alex grabbed her hand and pulled her toward him. She laughed. Silently, but I could see her shoulders shaking. They disappeared into the storage room. The door closed. I wasn't breathing, just staring at the empty hallway on the screen. "Shall I continue?" Rebecca asked very softly. I nodded. I couldn't speak. My throat tightened. She fast-forwarded the footage. The time on the screen changed rapidly. 11:10, 15, 20. 23 minutes. The storage room door opened. Sarah came out first. Disheveled, adjusting the hem of her dress. Then Alex's shirt unbuttoned, hair messy, fastening his belt. They stood in the hallway and looked at each other. Then Sarah said something. There was no sound, but I read her lips. I'd always been good at lip reading. I learned as a child, when my grandmother started losing her hearing. Don't worry, she won't find out. Jessica is stupid, she'll believe anything. Alex laughed. He wrapped an arm around her waist, pulled her to him roughly, harshly, and kissed her. Long, deep. His hand slid down and grabbed her butt. Then he pushed her away, slapped her on the backside, and walked out of the frame first. Sarah stood there for another minute, took her phone out of her small purse, looked at herself in the dark glass of the door. She fixed her hair, wiped off the smeared lipstick, smiled with satisfaction at her reflection. And then she left too. The screen went dark. I sat there, staring at the black monitor. I felt nothing. Just emptiness. Huge, cold, gaping emptiness where, an hour earlier, happiness had been. I'm so sorry, Rebecca whispered. I nodded. I stood up. My legs wouldn't cooperate, but I forced myself to move. Can I have this recording? On a flash drive? Of course. I've already copied it. Here, take it. She handed me a small flash drive. I took it and clenched it in my fist. Thank you, I said. My voice sounded foreign, distant. Thank you for calling me. If it weren't for you. I just did what I had to do. She put her arm around my shoulders. You're strong. You'll get through this. Just remember you did nothing wrong. They are the ones at fault. They betrayed you. I walked out of the cafe, got into my car, and cried. For the first time that whole nightmare of a day. I sobbed with my forehead pressed against the steering wheel, my shoulders shaking, my breath catching. Then I wiped away my tears, started the car, and drove off. Not home. To my parents' place. I needed advice. I needed support. And I needed a plan. My parents lived on the other side of the city, in the apartment building where I grew up. A 6th-floor apartment, the balcony overlooking the courtyard where I used to play as a child. There were new playgrounds there now, different swings, but the smell of that courtyard, a mix of freshly cut grass in spring and fallen leaves in autumn, was still the same. I took the elevator up and pressed the doorbell with trembling hands. My father opened the door. Tall, gray-haired, in house slippers and an old sweater. Jessica. He frowned the moment he saw my face. What happened? Have you been crying? I stepped into the entryway and broke down again. I just collapsed against my father's chest and sobbed like a little girl who had fallen and scraped her knee. Good Lord, sweetheart, what is it? My mom rushed out of the kitchen, wiping her hands on her apron. Jessica, what happened? They sat me down on the couch. Mom brought water, Dad sat beside me and wrapped his arms tightly around my shoulders. I sipped the water in small gulps, choking on tears, unable to get a single word out. Did he hit you? My father asked hoarsely, and I felt his muscles tense. If he touched you, I'll no, I shook my head. He didn't hit me. It's worse. And I told them everything. About the call. About the cafe. About the recording. About Sarah and Alex in that storage room. About her saying, Jessica is stupid, she'll believe anything. My mom cried along with me. My father was silent, and I could see his jaw muscles working, his fists clenching. Gregory had worked at a factory his whole life. He was a strong, stern, but fair man. He never interfered in my affairs, but when it came to protecting me, he became like a rock. I knew it, he finally exhaled. I told you. Too fast, everything was too smooth. And you didn't listen. Gregory, not now, my mom cut him off. This isn't the time for reproaches. She sat next to me, hugged me, stroked my hair like when I was a child. What do you want to do, sweetheart? She asked quietly. I wiped my tears with the back of my hand. I don't know. Get a divorce, I guess. But how? We only got married yesterday. All our friends, relatives. Everyone thinks we're happy. And I'm supposed to come out and say it's over. My husband cheated on me on our wedding day. They'll think I'm crazy. And the recording means nothing? Dad stood up and paced the room. You have proof. You'll show it to anyone who doesn't believe you. Dad, I don't want the shame, I whispered. I'm ashamed. Ashamed that I was such an idiot, that I believed him, that I didn't see who he really was. It's not you who should be ashamed, it's him, my father said harshly. You did nothing wrong. He's a bastard, he used you. And that one, what's her name, Sarah, she's no better. My mom suddenly straightened up and wiped away her tears. You know, Jessica, she looked me straight in the eyes, your father is right. They should be ashamed, not you. They betrayed you, they lied to you. And you're honest, decent. If you just walk away now, get divorced quietly, without a scene, they'll go on thinking you're a fool. They'll tell everyone you left them that there's something wrong with you. You know how people love to gossip. I nodded. I knew. Especially in our city, where everyone knows everyone. So what are you suggesting? My mom paused, then said decisively, expose them publicly. So everyone knows the truth. So they can't twist it, lie, or make themselves look innocent. How? I looked at her, confused. You have the recording, my father cut in. You'll show it in front of everyone. Parents, friends. Let them all see who they really are. But where? How? My mom thought for a moment, then her face lit up. Do you remember how Alex said he wanted to have a second wedding day? You didn't have time for a honeymoon. You were planning to just stay home for a few days. He suggested gathering the closest people on the weekend, this Saturday. He said he wanted to introduce you to distant relatives who couldn't make it to the wedding. I remembered. Yes, he had talked about it. He wanted to invite about 20 people. Our parents, his aunts and uncles, my friend Linda. And what? Do it, my mom took my hands. Agree to it. Tell him you're on board. Invite everyone he wants. And invite Sarah too. Say you want to get to know his family better, that it's important to you. And then, when everyone is there, show the recording. I went cold. Mom, that will be so humiliating. For me. For them, she corrected me. It will be humiliating for them. And you'll be the one who restores justice. The one who didn't let herself be fooled. My father nodded approvingly. Your mother is right. If you want everyone to know the truth, this is the best way. Otherwise, they'll lie, twist things. They'll say you slandered them, that the recording is fake. This way, everyone will see it with their own eyes. I sat there in silence, processing their words. Something inside me was turning over. Fear mixed with anger, hurt with a thirst for justice. What if I can't do it? I whispered. What if I lose it, break down too early? You can, my mom said firmly. You're strong. You're my daughter. And we'll be there. Right, Gregory? Right, my father placed his large hand on my shoulder. We'll help you. With everything. I took a deep breath in, then out. Again. And again. Okay, I finally said. Let's do it. I didn't get home until evening. I told Alex I'd stayed at Linda's longer than planned, then stopped by the store, then got stuck in traffic. He didn't seem surprised, even looked pleased. I was just about to talk to you, he said, hugging me at the door. I wanted to pull away, push him off, but I forced myself to smile and hug him back. Remember I told you about the second wedding day? Yes, I remember. Let's do it this Saturday. Invite the closest people, sit down properly, calmly. At the wedding we didn't really get to talk to half the guests. I swallowed. Good idea. Where? The cafe again? No, let's do it at home. Our apartment is spacious, the table is big. 20 people will fit easily. I'll order the food and drinks. You just be beautiful, he kissed me on the cheek. Our apartment. My apartment, I wanted to correct him. But I stayed silent. Okay. Who are we inviting? Well, my parents, Aunt Dorothy and Uncle Frank, my cousin. Your parents. Maybe a few of your friends? That. What's her name? Linda? Linda, I nodded. And Sarah, maybe, he froze for a second. Just for a fraction of a second, but I noticed. Then he smiled. Sarah? Sure, if you want. I do. I looked him straight in the eyes. She's my friend. I was happy she came to the wedding. I want her to come to the second day too. As you wish, wife. He hugged me again. I stood in his arms and thought about how easily he lied, how naturally he played the role of a loving husband. And how easily I had believed him just a day earlier. The next few days passed in a fog. I pretended everything was fine. I smiled at Alex, cooked dinners, went to bed with him. When he tried to hug me at night, I pretended to be asleep. Once he tried to have sex. I said I wasn't feeling well, female issues. He didn't insist. During the day, while he was at work, I called the guests and invited them for Saturday. Everyone agreed happily. Of course we'll come. Alex's mom, Patricia, chirped. We're so happy for you, kids. Our Alex has finally settled down, started a family. I listened and clenched my fists. Our Alex. I wondered if she knew what her son was really like. I called Linda my real friend. Told her everything. She was silent for a minute, then exhaled, bitch. Sorry, Jessica, but he's a bitch. And that's Sarah too. I always said she was a snake, and you kept defending her. I know. So what are you going to do? I told her about the plan. Linda gasped. Seriously? You're going to show the recording in front of everyone? Yes. Jessica. That's bold. Very bold. But it's right. Right, you hear me? Those assholes need to get what they deserve. I'll be there, I'll support you. Thank you, Linda. You're a real friend. Always, you hear me? Always. The hardest call was Sarah. I dialed her number with trembling fingers. Jessica. She answered cheerfully. Hi. How's married life? Hi, Sarah. Everything's great. I forced a smile, even though she couldn't see it. Listen, Alex and I decided to have a second wedding day on Saturday. At home, just a small circle. Will you come? A second of silence. Of course I'll come, she said, too cheerfully. With pleasure. Who else will be there? Our parents, a few of Alex's relatives, Linda. About 20 people total. Awesome. What time? 6 in the evening. I'll be there. Jessica, is everything okay with you? Your voice sounds kind of strange. Just tired, I lied easily, like breathing. I'd learned from them, from liars. Cleaning the apartment, getting ready for Saturday. Got it. Okay, see you. Kisses. Kisses, I hung up and stared at the phone. Kisses. How easily we throw these words around. Kisses, love, miss you. And behind them emptiness. Lies. Betrayal. On Friday evening, I sat in my parents' kitchen, going over the plan one last time. Are you sure you want to do this? My mom asked, pouring me tea. It's not too late to back out. I'm sure. I wrapped my hands around the hot mug. More than sure. Is the equipment ready? My father asked. I nodded. This morning I went to an electronics store and bought a projector. Small, portable. I told Alex it was a gift for him. For watching football on a big screen. He was thrilled and said I was clever. The projector is in the living room now, supposedly for family movie nights. Tomorrow I'll use it for a different kind of movie. The recording will definitely play, my mom asked. I checked it 10 times. I pulled the flash drive out of my pocket and showed it to them. Everything works. The quality is good, the faces are perfectly clear. My father nodded silently, jaw clenched. When will you show it? After everyone eats and drinks. When they relax. I'll say I want to show wedding photos. I'll turn on the projector, and instead of photos, the recording. And if Alex tries to turn it off, my mom worried. He won't have time. I smirked and was surprised myself at how cold that smile felt. Dad will be sitting next to the projector. Right, Dad? Right, my father nodded. I'll make sure no one turns it off until everyone watches it to the end. My mom took my hand. Sweetheart, I know you're hurting right now. But remember, you are doing the right thing. You're protecting yourself, your dignity. And your property too. I nodded. Property. My apartment. Only now was I starting to understand what Alex really wanted from me. Not me. Not my love, not my soul. The apartment. Housing in the center of Portland, no mortgage, no debt. He planned to marry me, register himself there, and then... What? Divorce and claim half? Or somehow take the whole place? And Sarah. Had she been his lover for a long time? Or was it just a random fling, a fleeting distraction? Or maybe they planned this together. There were many questions. No answers yet. But tomorrow, I would get them. I would, for sure. Saturday started like an ordinary day. Alex got up early, went grocery shopping, helped me set the table. He was attentive, affectionate. Hugged me several times, kissed the top of my head. I'm so happy you're my wife, he said, pulling bottles of wine out of the bags. You know, I've dreamed my whole life of a family like this. Of a home that's warm and cozy. Of a wife who loves me. I turned my back to him, pretending to arrange napkins so he wouldn't see my face. Because on my face there wasn't a smile, but a snarl. I'm happy too, I said evenly. Very happy. By 6 p.m, everything was ready. The table was overflowing with food. Cold cuts, salads, hot dishes. Alex turned on the music, set up the chairs. Beautiful, he said, looking around the living room. Wife, you did great. His parents arrived first. Patricia, a plump woman with dyed hair and a bright sweater, and Robert, a quiet man with a beer belly. They brought a cake and flowers. Jessica, our dear, Patricia kissed me on both cheeks. I'm so happy you're a family now. I smiled, thanked them, accepted the flowers. Inside, everything was tightening into a knot. Then my parents arrived. Mom hugged me tightly and whispered in my ear, "Stay strong, sweetheart. Everything will be okay." Dad nodded to me silently and went into the living room. He sat down on a chair next to the cabinet where the projector was standing. Guests arrived one after another. Aunt Dorothy and Uncle Frank, Alex's relatives, loud and cheerful. Alex's cousin Marcus with his wife. Linda with her husband Andrew. And Sarah arrived last. In a tight black dress, high heels, bright makeup. She walked in, looked around, smiled. Hi everyone. Sorry I'm late, traffic was awful. Alex greeted her reservedly, with a nod. She responded just as reservedly. But I saw it. I saw how their eyes met for a split second. How something flashed in his gaze. How her lips trembled. They thought I wouldn't notice, that I was blind, stupid Jessica who would believe anything. They were wrong. We sat down at the table. Alex made a toast to our family, to love, to happiness. Everyone drank, clinked glasses, congratulated us. Sarah was sitting across from me, smiling, eating salad, chatting with her neighbor. I looked at her and thought, you play your role so well. Almost as well as I do right now. An hour passed in conversation and laughter. Another one. People relaxed, drank, got cheerful. It was time. I stood up and lightly tapped my spoon against a glass. Dear guests, I said, and everyone fell silent, turned toward me. I want to show you something. We have some photos left from the wedding. Very interesting ones. I edited them into a short film. Let's watch it together. How wonderful. Patricia clapped her hands. Of course, show us, sweetheart. Alex smiled at me. You're so clever. I didn't even know you did this. A surprise, I smiled back at him. Dad was already turning on the projector. A white square of light appeared on the wall. I inserted the flash drive into the laptop connected to the projector. Please turn off the lights, I asked. Marcus flipped the switch. The room went dark, only the screen glowed on the wall. I pressed play. At first, everyone was silent, not understanding what they were seeing. A black and white image, a hallway, some kind of back room. Then Alex entered the frame. I heard someone gasp. Probably Linda. Then Sarah appeared in the red dress. Patricia murmured something. They disappeared into the storage room. What is this? Someone asked. I stayed silent. Just watched the screen. The footage jumped forward. The door opened. Sarah came out. Disheveled. Alex, fastening his belt. Oh my God, Patricia whispered. On the screen, Sarah said, don't worry, she won't find out. Jessica is stupid, she'll believe anything. Alex kissed her. Long rough. One of the women sobbed. The recording ended. I turned on the lights. There was dead silence in the room. The silence was so thick it felt like you could touch it. Everyone sat motionless, like statues. Someone was staring at the screen, even though there was nothing on it anymore. Someone was looking at me. Someone at Alex and Sarah. Alex was sitting pale, his face twisted. His mouth slightly open, eyes wide. He stared at the wall where the recording had just ended, then looked at me. I saw shock, horror, panic in his eyes. Sarah had gone pale too. All her confidence, all her polish evaporated in a second. She swallowed convulsively and grabbed the edge of the table. Jessica, Alex began in a hoarse voice. This. I can explain. Explain? I looked at him so coldly that he fell silent. What exactly do you want to explain? That you were sleeping with my former friend in a cafe storage room on our wedding day? Or that you were calling me stupid? Patricia gasped and covered her mouth with her hand. Robert stayed silent, staring at his plate. Son, Patricia whispered. Is this true? You really? Mom, Alex tried to stand up, but his legs wouldn't hold him. He collapsed back into the chair. It's not what you think. It was a mistake. I was drunk, I wasn't thinking. Drunk? I smirked. In the video you look perfectly sober. And Sarah too. Especially when she was saying I was stupid and wouldn't find out. All heads turned toward Sarah. She sat there gripping the edge of the table with white knuckles, silent. Her lips were trembling, mascara running down her cheeks. Sarah, Linda said quietly, my friend. How could you? She considered you a friend. I'm sorry, Sarah finally forced out. Her voice trembled, broke. Jessica, forgive me. It was stupid, I didn't want to hurt you. You didn't want to hurt me? I stood up. My hands were shaking, but my voice was firm. You slept with my husband on my wedding day and called me an idiot. But you didn't want to hurt me. Seriously? It was just sex, Sarah babbled. Nothing serious, just. We both drank, it got out of hand, I dashed shut up, my father cut her off sharply. Gregory stood up, came over to me, stood beside me. He put his hand on my shoulder. My daughter is not going to listen to your pathetic excuses. Mom stood up too and came to my other side. They stood next to me. My protectors. My fortress. Alex, Mom said coldly. Pack your things and leave this apartment. Immediately. What? He jumped up. This is our apartment. We're husband and wife. This is my apartment, I stepped toward him. Mine. It came from my grandmother. You're not even registered here yet. And you never will be. Jessica, wait, let's talk calmly. He tried to take my hand, but I pulled it away like from a snake. I admit it, I was wrong, I made a mistake. But we love each other. We can fix everything, start over. Love? I smirked. You never loved me. You needed my apartment. Housing in the center of Portland, no mortgage. Convenient, right? Marry a lonely preschool teacher who dreams so much of a family that she'll believe any fairy tale. That's not true, he raised his voice. I married you because you wanted free housing, I finished. And Sarah? Was she in on your plan too, or just some side entertainment? Sarah jumped up. I'm leaving. Jessica, I'm really sorry, Truly sorry, but I can't stay here anymore. Sit down, my father barked so loudly that she dropped back into the chair. No one is going anywhere until they hear everything to the end. Gregory was a calm man, but when he got angry, his voice thundered. Sarah shrank, burst into tears. My God, what a disgrace! Patricia whispered. She looked at her son with such horror, as if she were seeing him for the first time. Alex, how could you? How could you disgrace the family like this? This wonderful girl? Mom, you don't understand. Alex tried to approach his mother, but she recoiled. Don't come near me. I'm ashamed. Ashamed that you're my son. Robert silently stood up and took his wife by the elbow. Let's go, Patricia. There's nothing for us to do here. Dad, Mom, wait. Alex rushed after them, but my father stopped him, blocking his way. Stop, Gregory said quietly. You've disgraced your parents. Now apologize to my daughter. On your knees. And pack your things. What? I won't. You will. My father stepped forward. He was shorter and older than Alex, but in that moment he seemed enormous. Or I'll make you. Alex looked at him, then at me, then at the other guests. Everyone was looking at him with disgust. Even his relatives. Aunt Dorothy turned away, Uncle Frank shook his head, Marcus stared at his cousin with contempt. Fine, Alex slowly dropped to his knees. His face turned red, his neck blotchy. Jessica, forgive me. I acted like a complete bastard. Forgive me. I looked down at him. At the man I had considered the love of my life just a week ago. And I felt nothing. No pity. No anger. Just emptiness. Pack your things. And leave, I said evenly. You have 1 hour. He stood up and went to the bedroom. Sarah jumped up as well. I'll go too. One moment, Linda blocked her way. And where do you think you're going? You think you'll just walk away like that? Linda, I dash. You betrayed a friend. Linda looked at Sarah with such contempt that Sarah stepped back. You called her stupid. You laughed at her. And now you just want to walk away? What do you want from me? Sarah screamed hysterically. I already apologized. What else? So that you understand that people like you are despised by all decent people, my mom stepped up to Sarah. Look at yourself. What do you look like? A woman? No. A traitor. Someone who does dirty things behind other people's backs. Sarah burst into loud sobs, grabbed her purse, and ran out of the apartment. The door slammed. We heard her running down the stairs in heels. The clicking grew quieter and quieter. And then stopped. Aunt Dorothy stood up. Jessica, dear, she came over and hugged me. I'm so ashamed. I never thought Alex was capable of something like this. Please forgive us, if you can. You have nothing to apologize for, I hugged her back. Only he is to blame. The rest of Alex's relatives started saying goodbye too, mumbling apologies, leaving. 10 minutes later, only my parents, Linda and her husband, and I were left in the apartment. How are you holding up? My mom asked quietly. I'm okay. I sat down on the couch, suddenly feeling terribly exhausted. Just very tired. Alex came out of the bedroom with a bag in his hand. His face was dark, his eyes red. I'm packed, he threw out. Jessica. I really want to fix everything. Give me a chance. Leave, I didn't even look at him. Tomorrow I'm filing for divorce. The lawyer is already waiting for my call. A lawyer? He went pale. You planned all this already? Yes. The day before yesterday. When I saw the recording. So all this. He gestured around the room, the table, the guests. This was a trap? A performance? Exactly, I finally looked at him. You played the loving husband very well. But I learned to play just as well. You had a pretty good teacher, by the way. He stood there gripping the handle of the bag, and I saw his jaw muscles working. Anger, resentment, humiliation all mixed on his face. You'll regret this, he hissed. You'll regret it. My father stood up instantly. Is that a threat? No, I just dashed. Alex stopped short when he saw my father's face. I'm not threatening. I'm just leaving. He stepped toward the door, but I stopped him. Alex. The keys. What? The apartment keys. Leave them on the cabinet. He hesitated for a second, then pulled the key ring out of his pocket and threw it onto the cabinet. The keys clinked. Be happy, Jessica, he snapped and left, slamming the door. I sat on the couch, listening to his footsteps fade down the stairs. Quieter and quieter. Gone. That's it, I whispered. It's over. And I burst into tears. The next few days passed in a kind of insane rhythm. My parents moved in with me. Dad changed the locks on the doors. Just in case, so Alex doesn't decide to come back. Mom cooked, cleaned, tried to distract me. I went to work. I had to keep living somehow, pay utilities, buy food. The kids at the daycare looked at me and asked, Miss Jessica, why are you sad? I smiled and said, I'm just tired, sweethearts. On Monday, I went to a lawyer. Kenneth, a man in his 50s with gray at the temples and attentive eyes. He listened to me, watched the recording. The case is simple, he said. Divorce at your initiative, infidelity proven with evidence. The court will take minimal time. The apartment is your personal property, inherited before marriage. He has no rights to it. You have no jointly acquired property. He may try to claim something, but he won't succeed. And if he files a counterclaim? I asked. On what grounds? The lawyer smirked. He has no evidence of any wrongdoing on your part, because there is none. You have evidence of his infidelity. The court will be on your side. Don't worry. I exhaled with relief. Thank you. And psychologically? He looked at me carefully. Holding up? I'm trying, I shrugged. It hurts. It's painful. It's embarrassing in front of people. But it's easier than it would have been if I'd found out later. If he'd had time to register here, to put some paperwork on the apartment. You were lucky, the lawyer nodded. That woman who called you, she saved you. If you hadn't found out now, in a year, you might have discovered the apartment had been transferred to him, or that you had loaned debts you never took out. I felt cold. You think he's capable of that? What do you think? He looked at me seriously. A man who cheats on his wife on their wedding day is capable of a lot. I remembered Alex. How he courted me, how he talked about love, how he planned our life together. It was all a lie. All of it. A performance. I wasn't a person to him, I was an apartment with legs. On Wednesday, Sarah called. I saw her number on the screen and at first wanted to decline, then changed my mind. I answered. Yes? Jessica, her voice was pitiful, tearful. Please don't hang up. I need to talk to you. About what? About what happened. I want to explain. There's nothing to explain, I rubbed the bridge of my nose tiredly. You slept with my husband on my wedding day. It's very clear. Jessica, it's not what you think. We didn't plan it, honestly. It just. We both drank, started talking, and I lost control. Alex said you didn't understand him, that you were very different people, that he regretted getting married. I felt sorry for him, started comforting him, and one thing led to another. He said he regretted getting married, I smirked. On the wedding day? And you believed him? She hesitated. I don't know. Maybe he was lying. But he seemed sincere to me. Sarah, you're an idiot, I said calmly, without anger. Just stating a fact. He used you the same way he used me. The only difference is that from me he wanted an apartment, and from you sex. That's all. She sobbed. You're right. I'm an idiot. I ruined everything. Jessica, forgive me. Please forgive me. I'll do anything, just forgive me. Forgiveness is for church, I sighed. Sarah, I don't hold a grudge against you. Seriously. I'm even grateful to you. What? She fell silent, stunned. Grateful. Because you showed me who Alex really is. If it weren't for that recording, I'd be living with him, having his children. And then a year or two later I'd find out he'd been deceiving me all along. Or I might never have found out. But this way, I found out right away. And I managed to fix everything. So thank you. She cried into the phone. Jessica. But I don't want to see you ever again, I added. Never. Don't call me, don't text me, don't try to meet me. For me, you no longer exist. Is that clear? It's clear, she whispered. I hung up. A week later, I received a court summons. Alex had filed a counterclaim. He was demanding compensation for moral damages and contributions to the household. Kenneth just laughed when I showed him the papers. Is he serious? What contributions? You lived together for 2 days. Apparently, he's really hoping to get at least something, I shrugged. He won't. Relax. The court date was set for a month later. During that time, I calmed down and pulled myself together. I went to work, saw my parents, saw Linda. I lived a normal life. Without a husband, without illusions, but peacefully. My parents went back home when I said I could handle things myself. Dad didn't want to leave at first, afraid Alex might come back and try something. But I convinced him everything would be fine. New locks, an intercom downstairs, the police number on speed dial. I was ready for anything. But Alex never showed up. He didn't call or write, as if he had vanished. Instead, acquaintances called. Those who had been at that ill-fated second wedding day told others. The news spread across the whole city in a week. People looked at me with sympathy, with pity, some with curiosity. Poor Jessica, can you imagine what her husband did to her? Women whispered in the store, thinking I couldn't hear. And good for her for not putting up with it, others replied. She did the right thing kicking him out. I didn't care what people were saying. Let them talk. The important thing was that everyone knew the truth. That he was the traitor and the liar, not me, the abandoned wife who couldn't keep her husband. One Saturday, I was sitting at home with a cup of tea, staring out the window. It was raining. Gray, autumn rain, gloomy and sad. I remembered how, just a month earlier, I'd been happy, making plans for the future. Dreaming about kids, about a family, about growing old together. Everything collapsed in a single night. But you know what? I didn't feel sorry. Not for myself, not for my dreams. Because I understood, it's better to learn the truth right away than to live in a pretty lie for years. Better to be alone with a clear conscience than to be with someone who betrayed you. And I was grateful to Rebecca, the owner of that cafe. Grateful that she didn't stay silent, that she called me, that she risked stepping into someone else's life. She saved me. Saved me from a life with a man who wasn't worth even my tears. The phone rang, pulling me out of my thoughts. Linda? Hi, Jessica. How are you? Fine. Sitting here, drinking tea. Alone? Alone. Then get dressed. I'll pick you up in half an hour. We're going to the movies, then dinner. Enough sitting at home and being sad. I smiled. Okay. I'll be ready. I hung up, finished my tea, and went to change. Life went on. And that was what mattered. The court hearing took place on a cold November morning. I woke up early, even though the session wasn't scheduled until 11. I stood under the shower for a long time, then chose what to wear. I went with a strict gray suit. Businesslike, no bright colors, nothing provocative. Kenneth advised me to look modest and dignified. My parents came to pick me up at 10. Dad wore his only suit, the one he usually wore only to funerals and weddings. Mom wore a dark blue dress, her hair pulled into a tight bun. They looked serious, focused. How are you? Mom asked, hugging me in the entryway. Fine, I forced a smile. A little nervous. Don't be nervous, Dad patted my shoulder. The truth is on your side. Everything will be okay. We drove to the county courthouse. The building was old and gray, with peeling plaster. Inside, it smelled damp and official. People sat on benches in the hallways, waiting their turn. Someone was nervously smoking by the entrance. Someone was talking on the phone in a low voice. Kenneth was already waiting for us by the judge's office. He shook my hand, nodded to my parents. Ready? Yes. Remember what I told you. Answer only the judge's questions. Don't get into an argument with the defendant. Stay calm and dignified. We have all the cards. I nodded and swallowed. My mouth was dry. Alex appeared in the hallway. He was alone, without a lawyer, in a wrinkled jacket and jeans. He'd lost weight, looked worn down, dark circles under his eyes. He saw me and stopped. We stared at each other for about 10 seconds without saying a word. Jessica, he started, but my father stepped forward, blocking me. Don't even try, Gregory said. You'll talk in the courtroom. Alex clenched his teeth, turned away, walked over to the window. He pulled out cigarettes, but a security guard snapped, "No smoking here." He put the pack away and started pacing from corner to corner. At 11:05, we were called into the courtroom. A small room, the judge's desk, 2 tables facing it, one for the plaintiff, one for the defendant, and a few rows of chairs for witnesses and spectators. An American flag hung on the wall. The room smelled like dust and old paper. The judge, a woman in her 60s, in a robe, with a stern face, entered, and we all stood. She sat down, nodded to us, and we sat too. Hearing the case of dissolution of marriage between Thompson Jessica and Thompson Alex. She looked at us over her glasses. Plaintiff Thompson Jessica. Defendant Thompson Alex. The defendant filed a counterclaim for compensation for emotional distress and reimbursement of contributions to the household. She opened a folder. Miss Thompson, state the basis of your claim. I stood up and cleared my throat. My voice trembled, but I managed. Your Honor, I request dissolution of the marriage due to my husband's infidelity. The marriage was entered into on October 28th of this year. That same day, in the evening, my husband committed infidelity with a third party. I have video evidence. Provide it. Kenneth handed the judge the flash drive and a written statement. The judge inserted the flash drive into the computer and watched the footage. Her face stayed neutral, but I noticed her lips pressed together. Mr. Thompson, do you admit the fact of infidelity? Alex stood up, shifted awkwardly. Yes, I admit it. But it was a mistake. I was drunk, I wasn't thinking. I didn't want to destroy the marriage. I love my wife. The judge looked at him for a long moment. In the footage, you appear completely sober. And the amount of time spent with your mistress, 23 minutes, suggests this was a deliberate act, not a spontaneous mistake caused by intoxication. Alex reddened and sat back down. Now the counterclaim. The judge opened another folder. Mr. Thompson, you are requesting emotional distress damages in the amount of $5,000 and reimbursement of household contributions in the amount of $3,500. On what basis? On the basis that I spent money on renovations in the apartment, bought furniture, appliances. And my wife kicked me out, didn't even let me take my things. I was left without housing, without property. That's unfair. Kenneth stood up. Your Honor, if I may. The defendant claims he contributed to renovations and furniture. However, he has provided no documents to support that. No receipts, no invoices, no witness testimony. Also, the marriage lasted 2 days. What renovations could have been done in 2 days? The judge nodded. Mr. Thompson, provide proof of your expenses. I don't have receipts. He spread his hands helplessly. I paid cash. Who keeps receipts? Then your claims are unsupported. The judge made a note. Next, regarding the apartment. Miss Thompson, is the apartment your separate property? Yes, Your Honor. I inherited it from my grandmother 5 years ago, before the marriage. I have all the documents. Kenneth handed the judge copies of the deed and the will. Very well, the judge nodded. The apartment is the plaintiff's separate property, acquired prior to marriage. The defendant has no rights to it. No marital property was acquired in 2 days of marriage. Alex went pale. But that's unfair. I loved her, I wanted to live with her. You cheated on her on your wedding day. The judge cut him off dryly. What love are we even talking about? He fell silent, fists clenched. This matter is clear. The judge closed the folder. The court grants Miss Thompson Jessica's petition for dissolution of marriage. The marriage is dissolved. Mr. Thompson Alex's counterclaim is denied for lack of grounds. The decision takes effect in 1 month. Court is adjourned. She stood. We all stood. She left. I stood there and couldn't believe it. That was it. Finished. I was free. Alex turned and walked out of the courtroom without saying a word. The door slammed behind him. Congratulations, Kenneth shook my hand. You're a free woman. My parents hugged me. Mom cried happy tears. Dad silently stroked my head. That's it, sweetheart, Mom whispered. It's all behind you. Now live in peace. When I stepped outside the courthouse, I took a deep breath. The air was cold, fresh, smelled like snow. The first snow hadn't fallen yet this year, but it was about to. Let's celebrate, my father suggested. Let's go to a cafe, sit down, eat something real. Let's do it, I smiled. We went into a small cafe nearby. Ordered coffee and pastries. We sat there, quietly sipping, each lost in our own thoughts. Jessica, my mom took my hand. I want to tell you something. I'm proud of you. So proud. Why? I looked at her, surprised. Because you didn't break. Because you found the strength to fight back. A lot of women in your situation stay quiet, endure it, forgive. But you didn't. You protected yourself. Dad nodded. Your mother's right. You did great, sweetheart. Not every woman can do that. I felt a lump rise in my throat. Thank you. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have made it. You would have, Mom said confidently. You're strong. Sometimes we all just need support. We finished our coffee, ate our pastries. Then Dad drove me home. My parents wanted to stay, but I refused. I'm fine, really. I want to be alone. They left, and I stayed in the apartment. Silence. Only the clock ticking on the wall, and cars humming outside. I walked through the rooms. The bedroom where Alex and I slept for 2 nights. The living room where that cursed second wedding day happened. The kitchen where I made him coffee in the mornings. Memories were everywhere. But they didn't hurt anymore. They just were. I opened the closet in the bedroom. A few of Alex's shirts were still hanging there, the ones he forgot to take. I pulled them off the hangers and folded them into a bag. Tomorrow I'd drop them in a clothing donation bin. Let someone else use them. In the nightstand were his socks, his underwear. Into the bag too. Methodically, I removed everything from the apartment that reminded me of him. His toothbrush, his razor, his shower gel. The wedding photos, I tore them up and threw them away. The wedding band, I took it off and put it in a box. Then I changed my mind, took it out, went to the kitchen, and tossed it into the trash. An hour later, there was nothing left in the apartment that suggested a man had ever lived there. I sat down on the couch and looked around. Clean. Empty. Mine. A month passed. December settled in. Snow fell, the cold set in, and the city transformed festive and dressed up. Store windows were decorated with string lights, a Christmas tree went up in the square, kids in the streets built snowmen. I lived a normal life. Work, home, occasional meetups with Linda or my parents. I liked the steady rhythm, the calm. No chaos, no lies, no disappointments. My coworkers knew about my divorce. Some felt sorry for me, others just stayed quiet, not knowing what to say. One day, the daycare director, Margaret, called me into her office. Jessica, how are you? She asked, pouring tea. Fine, Margaret. Getting by. You know, she hesitated. I went through it too. 20 years ago. My husband cheated and left for another woman. I had 2 kids in my arms, a mortgage, debts. I thought I wouldn't survive. I stared at her, surprised. I never would have guessed. Margaret always seemed so confident, so strong. How did you get through it? Different ways, she smiled sadly. I cried, I got angry, then I accepted it. I realized life wasn't over. That my kids needed me, that I had a job, that the world still needed me. And little by little, life got better. The kids grew up, I paid off the debts. I even fell in love again. Much later, though about 10 years later. And you're happy? Happy. She nodded. Jessica, I want to tell you everything will be okay. You're young, beautiful, kind. Your whole life is ahead of you. Don't get stuck on that bastard. He's not worth your tears. I nodded, wiping away tears that suddenly appeared. Thank you. And one more thing, she poured me more tea. Don't be afraid to trust people again. Yes, you were betrayed. But that doesn't mean everyone is bad. There are good, decent men out there. You just have to be more careful, more cautious. But don't close yourself off. Those words stuck in my head. Don't close yourself off. Don't be afraid to keep living. Right before New Year's, Rebecca, the owner of that cafe, called me. I was surprised to see her number. Hello, Jessica, she spoke warmly, kindly. Sorry to bother you. I was thinking, how are you? Did everything get resolved? Yes, I smiled. We got divorced. Court went well. Thank God, she let out a relieved breath. You know, I kept worrying whether I did the right thing calling you. Maybe I shouldn't have interfered in someone else's life? No, you did the right thing, I cut her off. You saved me. If it weren't for you, I would have found out later, when it would have been impossible to fix anything. Thank you. Thank you so much. She was quiet for a moment, then said softly, you know, I have a daughter. She's 31. She recently went through a divorce too. Her husband hit her, drank. She endured it for 3 years until I found out. I regretted then that I hadn't intervened earlier. Didn't notice, didn't ask, didn't help. So when I saw that footage, I thought, if someone had told my daughter in time that her husband was a monster, maybe she wouldn't have suffered for 3 years. That's why I called you. My nose stung. How is your daughter now? She's living with me, got a job, slowly getting back on her feet. It's hard for her, but she'll make it. Just like you. Thank you, I whispered. Thank you for people like you existing. We women have to help each other, she said simply. Happy New Year, Jessica. I hope it brings you joy. And I wish you happiness. And your daughter too. We said goodbye. I set my phone down and thought, yes, there are good people. People who don't look away, who help, who support. And that gives hope. I spent New Year's with my parents. We set the table, turned on the TV, watched old comedies. At midnight, we went out onto the balcony to watch the fireworks. The city glittered with lights, fireworks exploded in the sky, people shouted, Happy New Year. Make a wish, Mom said, hugging me. I closed my eyes. What did I want? Love? Happiness? A family? No. I wanted peace. I wanted my life to be calm and steady, without shocks. I wanted to just live and not be afraid that I'd be betrayed again. Did you make it? Dad asked. I did. It'll come true, he said confidently. It will. We went back inside and sat at the table. Ate salads, drank champagne, chatted about nothing. Sometime after 2 a.m., I looked at my parents. Mom was dozing, leaned back against the couch. Dad was watching some show. And I realized I felt good. Just good. No but. I was home. I was safe. I was with people who truly loved me. And that was enough. January brought news. Linda called and said she'd seen Alex. Ran into him at the store, she said. Jessica, he looks awful. Unshaven, puffy, in a dirty jacket. I almost didn't recognize him. And what did he say? Nothing. He saw me, turned away, and left. Fast, almost ran. He's probably ashamed. Good that he's ashamed, I shrugged. That means there's at least a drop of conscience left. And I also heard Sarah left, Linda continued. To some other city, to relatives. They say people talked about her so much here that she couldn't take it, packed up, and left. Got it. Aren't you glad? No, I answered honestly. I don't care. They don't exist to me anymore. And it was true. I wasn't angry at them, I didn't wish them harm, but I didn't think about them either. They simply stopped being part of my life. In February, on Valentine's Day, the whole daycare was decorated with hearts and valentines. Kids gave each other cards, teachers smiled, everything was soaked in love. I walked home after work and thought, this day used to upset me. Everyone had someone, and I was alone. But now I felt calm. Yes, I was alone. But I was free. Free from lies, betrayal, and fake relationships. A man was waiting for me by the entrance. Tall, wearing glasses, holding a bouquet of flowers. I didn't recognize him right away. Andrew, Linda's husband. Jessica, hi, he handed me the flowers. These are from me and Linda. Happy Valentine's Day. We want you to know you're not alone. You have friends who love you. I took the bouquet. Tulips my favorite. And I burst into tears right there on the street. Thank you, I sobbed. Thank you so much. He awkwardly patted my shoulder. Everything will be okay, Jessica. You'll see. You'll meet someone who truly values you. You definitely will. I nodded, wiping my tears. Maybe someday. But not now. Right now, I just needed to live, to recover, to be happy on my own. And you know what? I was managing. Spring came unexpectedly. Just yesterday there was snow, and today streams were running, water dripped from rooftops, and the air smelled of melting snow and renewal. March was warm, sunny, full of promise. I stood by the window with a cup of coffee, looking out at the street. Kids were running to school, women were hurrying to work, men were starting their cars. An ordinary morning of an ordinary day. But for me, this morning was special. Exactly 5 months had passed since that ill-fated wedding. 5 months. It felt like an eternity. In that time, it was as if I'd been reborn. I learned how to live alone, not to fear the silence in the apartment, not to wait for someone to come home. I learned to make decisions on my own, without consulting anyone. I learned to be happy just because, without a reason. Work went on as usual. The kids at the daycare adored me, parents thanked me, and Margaret hinted at a promotion more than once. Life was slowly but surely getting better. On weekends, I started going to the pool. Linda talked me into it. Jessica, enough sitting at home, she said when we met at a cafe. You need to get out, socialize, live life to the fullest. Let's go to the pool, huh? I signed up. I want to lose weight by summer. Will you come with me? I agreed and didn't regret it. Swimming relaxed me, helped me think, cleared my head of unnecessary thoughts. After every workout, I felt renewed, stronger. At the pool, I met Carol. A woman around 40, cheerful and full of life. She worked as an accountant at a large company, was divorced, and raised 2 children on her own. I got divorced 10 years ago, she told me as we rested by the edge of the pool. My husband drank, caused scenes. I left him with 2 little kids in my arms, without a penny. I thought I wouldn't survive. But I did. And I even became happy. How did you manage? I asked. In different ways, she smiled. I worked 2 jobs. The kids grew up mostly without me, staying with their grandmother. Then I found a good position, things got easier. My sons grew up, one is already in the army, the other is in college. I'm proud of them. And your personal life? Did you date anyone? I did, she nodded. But nothing serious. And I didn't really need it. The main things were my kids, my job, peace of mind. And a man? If fate sends one, great. If not, that's fine too. I listened to her and realized I wasn't alone. So many women had gone through betrayal, divorce, pain. And they survived. And became stronger. In April, something unexpected happened. I was walking home from work, a grocery bag in my purse, when I suddenly heard a familiar voice. Jessica. I turned around. Patricia Alex's mother was standing at the bus stop. She had aged, looked worn down, her hair completely gray now. I stopped, unsure what to do. Run? Walk past? But she had already come up to me and taken my hand. Jessica, dear, wait, don't go. I need to talk to you. I looked at her silently. Please, there were tears in her eyes. 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. Okay, I sighed. Go ahead. We stepped aside to a bench and sat down. Patricia took out a handkerchief and wiped her eyes. I want to apologize, she began. For Alex. For myself. For raising him poorly, for not teaching him to respect women, to value family. It's my fault. Patricia, I shook my head. Alex is an adult man. He's responsible for his own actions. You're not to blame. I am, she stubbornly shook her head. I always spoiled him, forgave everything. He could be rude, lie, I stayed silent. I thought he'd grow out of it. He didn't. I stayed silent, not knowing what to say. He's now. She faltered. He's in bad shape. Drinking. Lost his job. Living with his father and me, barely leaves his room. His father doesn't talk to him, said he's ashamed of having a son like that. I felt sorry for her. Not for Alex. For her. For this woman who raised her son, loved him, hoped he'd become a good person. And he shattered her expectations. I'm very sorry, I said quietly. But I can't help with anything. I'm not asking you to, she squeezed my hand. I just wanted to say you did the right thing. The right thing by not forgiving him, by not giving him a second chance. He would have deceived you anyway, sooner or later. That's just who he is. She stood up and adjusted her bag on her shoulder. Be happy, Jessica. You're a good girl. You deserve better. She left, and I sat on the bench thinking, so Alex had sunk, degraded, become a shadow of himself. And I felt indifferent. No gloating, no pity. Just emptiness. He chose his own path. He destroyed his own life. Now he had to deal with the consequences. May was warm and sunny. At the daycare, we were preparing for graduation. The kids rehearsed dances and songs, parents sewed costumes. I helped, organized things, came up with the celebration program. The graduation went wonderfully. The kids danced, sang, recited poems. Parents cried from emotion. I stood off to the side, watching, and thought, this is real joy. Simple, sincere, without any falseness. After the graduation, the parents of one girl, Mary, came up to me. Miss Jessica, thank you so much, Mary's mom, Helen, said. You've done so much for our kids. You're a wonderful teacher. Thank you, I smiled. I really enjoyed working with your children. You know, she hesitated, we have an older son. He's 8. And his birthday is coming up. We wanted to throw a party, hire an entertainer. But then we thought maybe you'd agree? We'll pay, of course. I was surprised. Me? As an entertainer? Sure, her husband, Stephen, nodded. You're amazing with kids, they adore you. Will you do it? I thought about it. Why not? Extra money wouldn't hurt, and it sounded interesting. Okay, let's try. We exchanged numbers and discussed the details. The birthday was in 2 weeks. And you know what? I liked it. I hosted the party for the kids' contests, games, dancing. The kids were thrilled, the parents thanked me and paid generously. Jessica, you're talented. Helen said. You really have a gift. Maybe you should do this professionally? Open your own children's party agency? I laughed. An agency? That's serious. Why not? Stephen shrugged. The demand is huge, the competition isn't that big if you do it well. Think about it. I promised to think about it. And I really did. In the evening, I sat at home with tea, imagining it my own business, kids' parties, celebrations, birthdays. It sounded interesting and profitable. I called Linda and told her about it. That's an awesome idea, she exclaimed. Jessica, go for it. I'll help you. My husband works in advertising. He'll make you a website, print flyers. Start as a side gig at least, see how it goes. Do you think it'll work out? I'm sure of it. You've seen how much kids love you. You know how to talk to them, come up with games, make them laugh. You'll do great. I hung up and smiled. Maybe it really was worth trying. Not staying stuck on a preschool teacher's salary, but earning a bit more. Saving money, maybe taking a vacation somewhere. I dreamed of seeing the ocean for so long. June started with good news. 3 more parents called me, asking me to host birthday parties for their kids. Word spread fast, parents were recommending me to each other. I hosted 3 parties in 1 month and earned more than I usually did in 2 months at the daycare. I saved the money for a vacation, for the future, for a rainy day. Linda helped me create a social media page. She posted photos from the parties, parents' reviews. Orders started coming in even faster. Jessica, you're a star. Linda laughed. Look, you already have 200 followers. Seriously? I couldn't believe it. Seriously. And read the comments. Everyone is thrilled with you. I read the reviews and felt something warm and pleasant bloom inside me. People appreciated me. My work. My effort. That mattered more than any money. At the end of June, I took a vacation and went to the ocean. Alone. For the first time in my life, alone, to another city, to the sea. My parents worried. Jessica, maybe we should go with you? Mom suggested. Or take Linda. No, I shook my head. I want to be alone. To think, rest, figure myself out. They didn't insist. The sea greeted me with the sound of waves and the smell of salt. I rented a small room in a private house near the beach. Every morning I woke up to the cries of seagulls, went to the beach, swam, sunbathed, read books. In the evenings, I walked along the promenade, watched the sunset, drank coffee in little cafes. I didn't meet anyone, didn't flirt, just enjoyed being alone. And you know what? I felt good. Really good. I felt free, calm, happy. One evening, I was sitting on the shore, watching the sun sink into the sea, thinking about the past months. About the wedding, the betrayal, the divorce. About pain, tears, anger. And I realized I was no longer angry, no longer hurt, no longer regretting what had happened. Because it made me stronger. It taught me to value myself, to protect my boundaries, not to forgive betrayal. Alex wanted my apartment. He got a lesson. Sarah wanted some fun. She lost her reputation and ran from the city. They both got what they deserved. And me? I lost my illusions, but I found myself. When I came back from the ocean, I threw myself into work with renewed energy. Orders kept growing. I hosted parties almost every week, sometimes 2 or 3 in a single weekend. Money flowed steadily. I saved up, bought a professional entertainer costume, game props, sound equipment. I invested in advertising. Now I was known not just in my neighborhood, but across the whole city. Margaret, the daycare director, called me into her office. Jessica, I've heard things are going well for you, she said. You're doing great. But I want to ask, have you thought about leaving the daycare entirely? Focusing fully on your own business? I thought about it. I have. But I'm scared. What if it doesn't work out? What if the orders slow down? And what if it does work out? She smiled. Jessica, you're talented. You have a gift working with kids, bringing them joy. Don't be afraid to take a risk. Try it for at least 6 months. If it doesn't work, you can come back. I'll always take you back. Her words stuck with me. I thought about it for several days, weighing the pros and cons. And finally, I decided. In August, I submitted my resignation. Starting September 1st, I would be a free person. No steady job, but plenty of orders and big plans. My parents worried again. Jessica, it's risky, Dad said. What if something goes wrong? Then I'll find another job, I shrugged. Dad, I have to try. Otherwise, I'll regret it my whole life for not taking the risk. He sighed, then nodded. All right. We believe in you. September brought changes. I officially registered as a sole proprietor, opened a business account, printed business cards. Now I wasn't just Jessica the preschool teacher, I was Jessica Thompson, children's party organizer. There were so many orders I could barely keep up. I had to hire an assistant, a girl named Anna, a student in an education program. She helped with organization and sometimes ran simple parties herself. The business grew. I was earning 3 times more than at the daycare. I saved money, planned to expand, rent a space, build a team, host large events. Life was buzzing. I woke up early, went to bed late, but I was happy. Every day brought something new orders, new people, new ideas. In October, exactly 1 year after that ill-fated wedding, I was sitting in my apartment with my laptop, making a plan for the next month. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Parents were booking parties for November holidays and New Year's. I looked at the calendar. October 28th. A year ago, I got married. A year ago, I was a naive fool who believed in fairy tales. And now? Now I was a successful businesswoman with tons of orders, stable income, and plans for the future. I was a strong woman who had gone through pain and betrayal but didn't break. I stood up and walked to the window. Outside, rain was falling, the city sinking into autumn slush. But inside, I felt warm and cozy. At home. In my apartment. In my fortress. The phone rang again. An unknown number. Hello? Hello, is this Jessica? The party organizer? Yes, that's me. My name is Daniel. I was recommended to you. We have a situation. My son is turning 5, and we'd like to throw a party. Are you available next Saturday? I opened my planner and checked my schedule. I'm available. Let's discuss the details. We talked for about 20 minutes. He told me about his son, what kind of party he wanted. I suggested program options. His voice was pleasant, calm. Deal, he said at the end of the call. See you on Saturday. And thank you, everyone speaks very highly of you. Thank you, I smiled. See you soon. I hung up, wrote down the new order, and looked at the calendar again. A year ago, my life had collapsed. But I built a new one. Better than before. Without lies, without betrayal, without illusions. And this was only the beginning. Saturday turned out sunny, even though it was already late October. I packed my props, costume, sound equipment, and headed to the address Daniel gave me. A private house in a nice neighborhood, a well-kept yard, a playground. The door was opened by a man around 37 or 38. Tall, wearing glasses, with a pleasant face and a kind smile. He was holding a towel, apparently drying his hands after preparations. Jessica? Come in, please. I'm Daniel. Hello, I stepped inside. Where will we hold the party? In the yard, if you don't mind. The weather's great, the kids can run around. We set up a tent, laid out the tables. Come on, I'll show you. We walked through the house. Clean, cozy, smelling of baked pies and childhood. In the yard, there really was a large tent, tables with treats underneath, balloons, garlands. Beautiful, I noted. And where's the birthday boy? I'll call him now. Ethan, he called toward the house. Come here. A boy about 5 years old ran out. Red-haired, freckled, with huge green eyes. He stopped when he saw me and got shy. Hi, Ethan, I crouched down. I'm the fairy of fun. I came to wish you a happy birthday and throw you the best party ever. Ethan smiled and stepped closer. What are we going to do? Play games, dance, take part in contests. It'll be fun, I promise. Awesome. He jumped with excitement. Daniel watched us and smiled. You see, he's already thrilled. Thank you for agreeing. What for? It's my job. I stood up and started taking props out of my bags. Where's Ethan's mom? Daniel's expression darkened. There is no mom. Ethan and I live alone. Oh, I'm sorry, I felt awkward. I didn't mean dash, it's okay, he waved it off. We divorced 2 years ago. My ex-wife lives in another city and doesn't communicate with the child. Her choice. I nodded, not knowing what to say. We both fell silent, busy with preparations. Guests started arriving around 3. About 15 kids with their parents. I changed into my costume, turned on the music, and started the program. 2 hours flew by unnoticed. The kids laughed, ran around, played. Parents took photos and praised me. Ethan was happy. His eyes were shining with joy. Daniel helped me. He brought props, organized the kids, kept order. We worked like one team, without even discussing anything. When the party ended and the guests left, I was packing up my things, and Ethan sat next to me, chatting nonstop. "Will you come to us again?" he asked. I liked it so much. "If your dad invites me," I smiled. "Dad, invite her again." Ethan tugged on his father's sleeve. Daniel laughed. "Ethan, Jessica is a busy person. She has a lot of work. But she could come just like that." "To visit?" The boy looked at me with pleading eyes. I felt flustered. "I don't know." "Don't put Jessica on the spot," Daniel patted his son on the head. "Go inside and wash your hands. I'll be there in a minute." Ethan reluctantly ran into the house. We were left alone. "Sorry about him," Daniel said. "He misses female attention. His grandmothers live far away, we don't see them often. And his mom. Well, you understand." "It's fine," I zipped up my bag. "He's a wonderful boy." "Thank you." "That's not only my merit," he paused. "Jessica, I want to ask, this may sound strange, but would you like to get coffee sometime? Just talk. Without Ethan, without work, just spend some time together." I froze. Was he asking me out? Or just as a friend? "I understand, it's sudden," he quickly added. "And if you don't want to, just say so. I won't be offended." I looked at him. At his honest face, kind eyes, open smile. And thought, why not? It's just coffee. Just a conversation. Nothing serious. "Okay," I said. "Let's get coffee." His face lit up. "Great. Maybe tomorrow? Or whenever works for you." "Tomorrow works." "What time?" 6 in the evening. "Do you know Corner Cafe on the Central Square?" "I do." "Then see you tomorrow." He shook my hand. "Thank you for the party. And for agreeing." I drove home with mixed feelings. On one hand, I was glad, a pleasant man, an interesting conversation ahead. On the other, I was scared. What if he turned out to be a liar too? What if there was betrayal again? That evening, I called Linda and told her everything. "Jessica, are you serious?" She was shocked. "You agreed to a date?" "It's not a date," I corrected her. "Just coffee. Just talking." "Yeah, sure, just," she snorted. "Jessica, I'm happy for you. Really happy. But be careful, okay? After Alex, you've become cautious, and that's right. Just don't overdo it. Not all men are jerks." "I know," I sighed. "I'm just scared." "That's normal. But try. What if he's the one?" I laughed. "Linda, it's just coffee." "Everything starts with coffee," she said mysteriously. I spent Sunday in nervous anticipation. I tried on every dress in my closet, redid my hair 3 times, put on makeup and washed it off twice. By 6 in the evening, I was finally ready. A simple black dress, light makeup, loose hair. I looked at myself in the mirror and thought, God, I'm acting like I'm going to an exam. Daniel was already waiting at the cafe. He stood up when I walked in, helped me take off my jacket, pulled out a chair. "A gentleman." "You look beautiful," he said. "Thank you," I blushed. We ordered coffee and desserts. At first, the conversation didn't flow. We were both shy, silent, staring into our cups. Then, gradually, we relaxed. He told me about himself. He worked as a programmer at a large company. Good salary, flexible schedule. He married young, at 23. His wife gave birth to Ethan, but a year later she left. Said she wasn't ready for family life, for motherhood. She moved to another city, remarried, and didn't remember her son. I'm raising Ethan on my own, he said. It's hard, of course. Especially at first. But we managed. He's a great kid, smart, kind. It's obvious you're a good father, I said sincerely. I try. And you? Tell me about yourself. I told him about working at the daycare, about my business, about my love for children. I didn't tell him about Alex. I didn't want to ruin the evening with heavy memories. But he asked, and your personal life? Sorry if that's too personal. I hesitated. I was married. One day, I smirked. We divorced almost a year ago. One day? He raised his eyebrows in surprise. Long story, I took a sip of coffee. Not a very pleasant one. I understand. Then I won't ask. We were quiet for a moment. Then he said, you know, Jessica, I don't know how to court beautifully or give fancy compliments. I'm a simple person, a programmer. But I want to be honest, you like me. Not just as a party organizer, although you're amazing at that, but as a person. You're kind, sincere. It's easy to be with you. I felt myself blush. Thank you. I like you too. Really? He smiled. Really? Then can we meet again? Go somewhere, maybe a movie, or just take a walk. I thought about it. Inside me, two feelings were fighting, wanting to try and fear of getting burned again. Daniel, I said carefully, I'm not against seeing each other. But I want to warn you right away, I had a very bad experience. I was betrayed, lied to. And now I'm cautious. I need time to trust. He nodded. I understand. And I'm ready to wait. As long as it takes. The main thing is that you gave me a chance. I smiled. Okay. Then let's try. Over the next few months, we met regularly. Movies, theater, walks in the park, dinners at cafes. Daniel was attentive, patient. He didn't rush me, didn't pressure me, he was just there. I got to know Ethan better. He really was a wonderful boy, smart, cheerful, curious. He grew attached to me quickly, called me Aunt Jessica, asked me to come visit. I didn't tell my parents about Daniel right away. I was afraid they'd worry. But when I did tell them, they were happy. Finally, Mom threw up her hands. Jessica, I'm so happy. When will you introduce us to him? Mom, don't rush it. We just started seeing each other. But you love him, don't you? She asked. I thought about it. Did I love Daniel? I didn't know. But I felt good with him, calm, safe. That mattered more than loud words about love. I don't know, Mom. But I feel comfortable with him. That's enough, Dad nodded. The main thing is that he respects you, values you, and doesn't lie to you. I introduced Daniel to my parents in December. We came over for dinner, me, Daniel, and Ethan. My parents welcomed us warmly. Mom cooked a ton of food. Dad talked with Daniel about work and life. Ethan played with Dad's old toys that I once found in the attic. Mom watched him and smiled. Such a good boy, she whispered to me. And his father is a good man too. Hold on to him, Jessica. It's too early, Mom. It's not too early. You've been alone for a year. That's enough. After dinner, when we were leaving, Dad pulled me aside. Sweetheart, this man, he's serious. I can see the way he looks at you. He values you. Dad, I'm not pushing, he raised his hand. I just want you to know not all men are awful. There are good ones. Daniel is one of them. Don't miss your chance. I hugged my dad. Thank you, Dad. We celebrated New Year's, the three of us, me, Daniel, and Ethan. Daniel cooked dinner, I set the table, Ethan decorated the tree. It was cozy, warm, family-like. At midnight, when Ethan fell asleep on the couch under a blanket, Daniel hugged me. Jessica, I want to say something. Go ahead. I love you. He looked me in the eyes. I know you need time. I'm not rushing you. But I want you to know I am serious. I want to be with you. Not just date, but build a family. If you want that too, of course. I looked at him and felt something breaking inside me. Fear, distrust, pain from the past, all of it stepped back, making room for something new. Warmth. Hope. Love. I want that too, I whispered. I love you too. He kissed me. Gently, carefully, like something precious. Another 6 months passed. We got married quietly, without any grand celebration. Just our closest people, parents, Linda and her husband, a few friends. Ethan was our witness and was incredibly proud of it. Daniel moved into my apartment. Together we renovated it, set up a kid's room for Ethan, bought new furniture. The apartment came alive, filled with laughter, voices, warmth. My business kept growing. I hired 2 more assistants, rented a small office, bought more props. There were so many orders I had to turn some down. Daniel helped me build the website, managed social media, advised me on finances. We were a team. A real family. Ethan started school. Every evening I checked his homework, read him bedtime stories. He called me Mom, and every time I heard that word, my heart overflowed with happiness. One day I ran into Patricia, Alex's mother. She was standing at a bus stop, older, tired. She saw me and lowered her eyes. Jessica, she whispered. How are you? I'm good, Patricia. I'm married, I'm happy. Thank God, she breathed out in relief. I'm happy for you. Truly. And how is Alex? I asked, even though I didn't really care. Bad, she shook her head. He's completely fallen apart. Drinking. Living with us, not working. Robert doesn't even want to talk to him. I don't know what to do with him. I felt sorry for her. Not for him. For her. I'm very sorry, Patricia. It's okay, she wiped her tears. It was his choice. He ruined his own life. And you. You did the right thing. You didn't forgive, you didn't give a second chance. You did the right thing. She walked away, and I stood there thinking, yes, I did the right thing. I didn't forgive betrayal, I didn't give him a chance to use me again. And because of that, I found real happiness. Now, as I'm writing this story, 3 years have passed since that ill-fated wedding. 3 years in which my life changed beyond recognition. I am a happy wife to a loving husband, a mom to a wonderful boy, the owner of a successful business. I live in my own apartment, the one I almost lost because of greed and lies. Alex got what he deserved. Sarah did too. And I got a second chance at happiness. Do you know what this story taught me? That betrayal is not the end. It's the beginning. The beginning of a new life where you are stronger, wiser, more careful. It taught me that you don't have to forgive those who knowingly hurt you. Forgiveness is not weakness, but it's not an obligation either. Sometimes it's better to simply let a person go and live on without them. It taught me that a woman can handle things on her own. Without a husband, without support, just on inner strength and the desire to live. She can get back up, brush herself off, and build a new life. And it taught me that after pain, joy always comes. You just have to not give up, believe in yourself, and not be afraid to open your heart again when the time comes. If it weren't for that video, for Rebecca's call, I would be living now with a man who didn't love me. Maybe I would have already had a child with him. Maybe I would have lost my apartment. Maybe I would have endured cheating, humiliation, lies. But she called and she saved me. So I want to say to everyone reading this story, don't be afraid to tell the truth. Don't be afraid to step in when you see someone being deceived, used, betrayed. One phone call can save someone's life. And one more thing, don't stay with people who don't value you. Life is too short to spend it on those who betray you. Leave. Don't be afraid to be alone. Being alone is better than living with a traitor. Believe in yourself. You are stronger than you think. You will get through it. And you will absolutely find your happiness. That's how it is. And what would you have done in my place? Forgiven or left? Exposed it publicly or divorced quietly? Think about it. And call your loved ones. Tell them you love them, that you appreciate them. While there's still time. Life is unpredictable. Value those who are near you. Protect those who truly love you. And don't waste time on those who don't deserve it. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support inspires us to bring you new engaging stories every day. You can already find our next story on the main screen. We wish you all the best and happiness in life.